telescopic.com to leave comments on our stories and to find more stories for people learning American English. I'm Milagros Ardeen.
And this is Steve Ender with the VOA Special English program, Explorations. Today, we tell about one of the world's greatest scientists, Isaac Newton.
Much of today's science of physics is based on Newton's discovery of the three laws of motion and his theory of gravity. Newton also developed one of the most powerful tools of mathematics. It is the method we call calculus. Late in his life, Newton said of his work, "If I saw further than other men, it was because I stood on the shoulders of giants."
One of those giants was the great Italian scientist Galileo. Galileo died the same year Newton was born. Another of the giants was the Polish scientist Nicholas Copernicus. He lived 100 years before Newton. Copernicus had begun a scientific revolution. It led to a completely new understanding of how the universe worked. Galileo continued and expanded the work of Copernicus. Isaac Newton built on the ideas of these two scientists and others. He found and proved the answers for which they searched.
Newton was born in Woolsthorpe, England on December 25th, 1642. He was born early. He was a small baby and very weak. No one expected him to survive, but he surprised everyone. He had one of the most powerful minds in history, and he lived until he was 84. Newton's father died before he was born. His mother married again a few years later. She left Isaac with his grandmother. The boy was not a good student, yet he liked to make things, such as kites and clocks and simple machines.
Newton also enjoyed finding new ways to answer questions or solve problems. As a boy, for example, he decided to find a way to measure the speed of the wind. On a windy day, he measured how far he could jump with the wind at his back. Then he measured how far he could jump with the wind in his face. From the difference between the two jumps, he made his own measure of the strength of the wind. Strangely, Newton became a much better student after a boy kicked him in the stomach. The boy was one of the best students in the school. Newton decided to get even by getting higher marks than the boy who kicked him. In a short time, Newton became the top student at the school.
Newton left school to help on the family farm. It soon became clear, however, that the boy was not a good farmer. He spent his time solving mathematical problems instead of taking care of the crops. He spent hours visiting a bookstore in town instead of selling his vegetables in the market.